I am truly honored to be invited here tonight as the first president in American history to address the Libertarian National Convention. Great honor.
That was former President Donald Trump last month at the Libertarian Party National Convention. The Libertarian Party chair, in what was perhaps an unprecedented move, invited all other presidential candidates to come speak to the convention. Only Trump and one other accepted. Angela McArdle is the chair of the Libertarian Party. She was, at the convention, re-elected to that position to serve another 2-year term. We spoke with her via Skype on Tuesday. Angela, that was quite an affair you put on last month. A former president, a Kennedy running for president. Essentially, though, presidential candidates running against Chase Oliver, who at the end of the convention was eventually your party's nominee. You had a massive press, incredible press coverage for a third-party presidential candidate and convention. And I guess you've got stuff to build on now, and you're struggling also with ballot access. What's it like to be you right now? And what are you trying to get done this year?
Sure. So, a lot of it is balancing administrative and legal issues with PR and media requests. We want our candidate on as many states as possible. I really did think that 48 states was going to be maybe the best we can do, considering the way that ballot access is being weaponized against us, especially in the state of New York right now. So that's what we're doing. But we're riding a high after our convention. You're correct. We got visited by Donald Trump, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., also Vivek Ramaswamy, Afro Man. We had a ton of people there.
It was, and there were lots and lots of people in attendance. There's a lot of delegates. How many delegates are there to something like this? It looked like hundreds.
There were, I believe we had a little over 1,000 delegates. So quite a few.
Wow. For a third party, you're lucky to have that many voters.
Right.
So there's an infrastructure there. I mean, look, people are looking at the choices that are presented by the system here, even the anti-system choices, with not a great deal of enthusiasm. Perhaps just keeping down lunch is an expression of the maximum of their enthusiasm. And you, particularly since 2020, but really since the year 2000, when Ralph Nader was alleged to be, in any event, a factor in the outcome of the 2000 election, it's been getting ballot access, which has always been treated almost as a monopoly of the Republican and Democratic parties by the court system, by the legislatures, and the popular culture. It's been getting even tighter and tighter. And then for the 2020 election was the most ridiculous expression of that. You're battling with all of that, right?
Yep, it's been a struggle. One of the reasons that I'm maintain friendliness and appreciate the Kennedy campaign is because he is drawing a huge spotlight down on the ballot access battle. It's typically something that is just very unsexy in media. People don't find it a particularly interesting story. But when someone from the Kennedy family starts to struggle to get on the ballot, people raise their eyebrows and they wonder, okay, what's going on? This sounds like this is a really corrupt system.
Yeah. This was the big complaint that the people here had about the Russian election. There were 3 candidates on the ballot there, including Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
Which is right now, throughout all of the Russian Federation, it's an area like 6 times the size of the United States. Somehow they were able to do that. It's going to be a struggle if any third-party candidate can be on all 50. And even Biden may have a problem in Ohio. I don't know if he resolved that, but he might not even be on all 50 ballots. This system, it seems designed to keep outsiders out.
Yes.
This is your battle, essentially. And so what fronts are you waging it on, between now and Election Day?
Administrative courts, lawsuits, lobbying, petition gathering, just general organization. We have to attack it on multiple fronts. Now, to be fair, we normally have, I think we have between 32 and 34 states have concurrent ballot access. We have it every single year. There are several states in addition to that have just very low threshold requirements. So for example, in Washington, they only need 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot. Very easy. We don't consider them real battleground states, but there are, 4 or 5 that we have to really put in a lot of work. It is a struggle. Alabama, we have to start our signature gathering there or amp it up. I think it's already started. Kentucky, we have to continue that ballot access campaign and that signature drive. Illinois is now the really difficult one. Illinois, I believe, requires 35,000 signatures. Now, it's much more time to gather them than, say, the state of New York, which we just wrapped, but we'll be fighting, for some of those states.
So is there anyone doing any strategic thinking? I mean, all right, you have a number of levels that you're fighting on here. One of them is the actual engagement in the election and trying to help to determine the outcome, even if it's at the margins, because there's real power in there.
Absolutely.
And it's in agenda setting and in a million different things. Is there any conversation going on between you and other third-party campaigns, quote unquote, maybe trading out ballot access where one person might have it and another not, and trying to come up maybe with, it can't be fusion, but some sort of cobbled together fusion-like creature?
Sure. So we actually do have fusion voting in like 4 states to a certain degree, New York actually being the most well-known one.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be a really difficult battle to get on the ballot in New York. We've been in communication with the Kennedy campaign, and I'm sort of leaving it up to the states how closely in communication they want to be with the Kennedy campaign. It's a big controversy right now, but if we're unable to get ballot access in particular states, I do urge our state affiliates to try to do some wheeling and dealing. We're not supposed to endorse candidates who are outside of our political party, but we could certainly work closely with them, give them positive ratings when their policy positions merit it, try to get down ballot endorsements for our other candidates, because, we're not just running a president. We've got people running for state house, for Congress, for county level positions, for city council. All of that stuff matters, and it all gives us bargaining chips, as we try to help each other out across party lines.
On that point, as a matter of fact, there was something interesting that you guys did at the convention in D.C. last month, the national convention, where you picked your candidate, and that is with Trump's appearance. In essence, I wouldn't say a list of demands, but there were a list of items of concern that were presented to him saying, look, if you're going to come speak to us, we would like to hear you talk about these things. And he responded to almost all of them in his speech there, too. Are there other areas where you can, kind of engage other candidates, in that way?
Yeah, I mean, that was really incredible. So Donald Trump told us that he was going to free Ross Ulbricht on day one. He didn't say in his speech, but he said in an interview right before that he was considering freeing Julian Assange. He talked about putting a libertarian in his cabinet. Our candidate, our nominated candidate, Chase Oliver, is much more progressive culturally than our candidates have been in recent history. I think that he is a really good option for people who do not want to vote for Joe Biden, especially because they don't like Joe Biden's support on Israel. So we're kind of playing things out, right? Like pulling from Biden in an authentic, meaningful way, while also pushing the Trump campaign to literally just be better.
Going forward, what can we expect to see next?
Oh, you're going to see all kinds of fascinating things between now and the general election. We're going to have some more major events. We're going to have another anti-war rally co-sponsored by the LP. We are going to continue to push Chase Oliver, especially in blue states where I think he is going to resonate the most with voters. And we'll be battling it out at the state level, trying to get our candidate on the ballot, trying to work with other political parties to give the voters the best possible choices.
Angela McArdle, chair of the Libertarian Party, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For KPFK, I'm Don DeBar.